Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode. Oh, what am I doing? Why am I starting a timeless or trash? I was just about to say welcome to another episode of Timeless or Trash, and I was like, no, that's not what we're doing today. Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Spacemen From Pluto Podcast. I am your host today, Christian, and joining me as usual is...
Ben.
Dan.
And James.
And today, after our very successful Saw Timeless or Trash, we've all finally gone back to the cinema and watched Spiral. So we're going to be talking about Spiral and our personal opinions on it. Probably with spoilers, so just be aware of that. And also we're just going to talk generally about how good it is to have the cinema back. How nice it is to be back in the cinema, being able to watch movies, at least here in the UK anyway. But first, I believe Ben has a question to ask James.
Oh. James, you're a fan of Friends.
I am,
Who? I am,
Yeah, I am,
Bloody Birmingham.
Wait, is that an actual Birmingham thing? Like, it could be. It could be.
I think it's like a black country thing more than just a general Birmingham thing, but yeah.
I am
Yeah.
Good God.
because in Manchester they say yeah. So
Yeah, like a way of
Birmingham's
agreeing, like, oh, yeah.
oh, that's a bit ridiculous, though, isn't it?
It's not worth it now. I don't want to.
Ask the question.
Did you watch the trailer for the reunion thingy?
I didn't know there was a trailer.
Oh, pause.
Okay, so after Ben's just pointed it out, we've all just sat down and watched it because none of us knew that it was out. So, yeah, okay. Friends reunion trailer.
I'm super excited for that now. Like, I think it looks really good. It looks very heartwarming, really lovely, a proper sort of like trip down memory lane. But from the looks of the trailer, good hope that it's not going to be another in-betweeners one where the host is just badgering them and berating them with everything. It looks like they are going to let the cast actually just breathe and sort of hang out for a bit. We'll see if that does happen because it is James Corden.
I was going to say, James.
Good signs so far.
I just feel like it's going to be them sat like bonding and sitting down and reminiscing, and he's just going to keep jumping in between him and putting his arms around him and be like, yeah, aren't we all friends? It's like, go away, James Corden. No one likes you.
Yeah, when it started off with just them going out to a crowd and James Corden's, and I was like, oh, it's literally the in-betweeners thing. But, if you're a fan, like the best bits of the trailer was them sat in the old set. It's good they did the set again, and they're redoing they did a script reading or something. Looks like they're going to be doing. That's quite cool. And they just sat talk. That's all you need. Just have them talk. Jesus.
That's
if you can have special, and I like that. At least some of the special guests. I've seen that who is going to be on it. Some of them are people from the show.
Yeah.
And some are like David Beckham's one because. And do you want to know the travesty? I'm not even a Friends fan, but it is a travesty that this person's name is not on the list. He better be kept off it. You know what I mean? Like, where's Paul Rudd?
Yeah. Paul Rudd has apparently not even been invited.
That's
disgusting.
It's not that he couldn't come. He just wasn't invited.
That's not very nice.
Wow. I wonder whether part of it is because as nice as it was to watch, them all come together. They have all aged, and Paul Rudd hasn't. So I reckon they were like, we can't put him next to them. It'll make it even more obvious that the man's a living god.
So yeah, the totally not random guest list for the Friends reunion
it's proper
special.
His name's out of a hat. This is
Yeah. So we have David Beckham,
Obviously.
Justin Bieber,
Oh.
who probably wasn't even born when the show started.
Why isn't it Cole Sprouse, Riverdale's own? Because he was the kid.
That would
Exactly.
have been cool.
But
What?
no, Justin Bieber.
I should do this. I'm better at this.
James Corden, obviously. I'm going to mess this up. Malala Yousafzai.
Oh yeah, I know her.
Is that Janice?
No. she is a women's right advocate from around the world.
Nah,
Right.
she
Get her in the Friends reunion.
she lived in Afghanistan and then got shot in the head
Yeah.
as a little kid. Then came over to the UK, recovered fully, did a load of exams, went to university, and now she is a prominent kind of spokesperson
And
for.
Yes, I think she went to the same
Stuff.
high school as my sister.
Right.
That's
and
why I've
now
heard of
Matt
her.
LeBlanc's going to ask how she's doing, and then
Let's hope
is that
not.
it? Is that
Yeah.
It's probably gonna happen.
I was gonna say, like, I remember I'd vaguely heard the name, so I looked her up and I was like, this. I mean, great that she's gonna have a platform because she's got a lot to say. But is the Friends reunion
I was gonna
really
say,
the most appropriate
Do we,
platform?
do we think she'll get to say anything really?
Maybe it'll be like when I was in Afghanistan during the horrendous years preceding me being literally shot in the head and almost dying. Friends were there for me.
It's gonna be like in WandaVision where it turns out her whole origin story is
That's
based
it.
around
yeah.
sitcom.
I know
It'll
what they're going
be
to do. They're going
a
to talk about
WandaVision thing.
the horrendous experience she's been in, but it's how the Friends cast, they're the real heroes. They're the ones that saved her life.
It turns out, if it wasn't for Friends if it wasn't for those actors being paid $1 million an episode at that point, then she wouldn't have fared as well. So just as well, money
Would any
money
of
well
us
spent.
really?
Money well spent.
The trailer looks good. I'm really excited for that now.
Yeah, I thought you'd like that.
It looks better than I thought it was going to be. When they said, "Oh yeah, it's not an actual episode; it's just going to be the cast sitting down and chatting," I expected, like, literally just blank stage with the Friends logo in the background.
Yeah. Did anyone watch the Fresh Prince reunion?
Didn't know they did one.
Yeah, they did one for that, and that was just them sat together. That was quite good. That was just them chatting, sat together
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
set. That was quite good.
Now we'll get into our main topic, because we all went and we watched Spiral.
We went to the cinema. We had a Spacemen. Thanks, because of the clout we've got. You know,
Yeah.
we've got pull. We've got influence. We had an exclusive Spacemen screening all to ourselves. It was great, wasn't it? It was just us.
Yeah, just
in a
us
empty
four.
screen.
We saw Spiral from the Book of Saw. Obviously, got to mention the full title.
But was that always the full title? Or is this like a late edition?
No, that was always the full title.
The book of Saw, there's many more stories within the book, but this is just one of them.
Oh well, we'll get onto that in a minute.
The question is this a script that they then went, or should we just rewrite some seeds and then put the Book of Saw underneath it?
I think so, yeah. I don't know if they had a full script and then slapped Saw on it, but I think there was a script in development that then was allowed to be a Saw film.
I wonder as
I
much.
don't know, because Chris Rock has been involved. Like, I remember hearing about this film a while ago, because one thing that I noticed was it was a few years ago. I was doing a Saw rewatch because I was bored, and I was checking out like the cast lists on IMDb. And while I was watching Saw 7, which was normally called Saw: The Final Chapter, I noticed on the IMDb page it had been changed. Is Dan okay?
It's just gone without
He's
saying
just gone.
anything.
He's just left.
I mean, when you gotta go, right?
Just bailed.
I'm so sorry.
If you don't want us to talk about it,
I
that's
just
all
drank
right.
some water. I had a bottle of water on my desk, and I thought it was fine. It tasted absolutely horrendous. I'm really sorry. I actually had to go and spit it out. I'm really sorry about that. Bloody hell.
God.
Let's carry on anyway. It tastes like it's been there like 2 weeks. That was horrible.
Where is it?
Like
Get the
pond
bottle.
water.
Where is it? Get it. Get it.
Yeah, go on, let Ben try it.
There it is. There it is.
Uh,
It looks nice and clear.
I thought he's come off. He dropped it there. All over himself.
Yeah.
Just a nice sip of stagnant river water.
What would be great is if Dan had forgot there and gone, yeah, it's really awful, isn't it? Just taking a drink as he's putting it down.
It's like when Fry finds out slurms from that worm, and he just immediately keeps drinking it.
It's like I've not fully got rid of the taste. Let's carry on anyway. Oh, Jesus Christ. So,
You've got some
Christian.
water on the floor if you want to wash your mouth out, then.
But yeah, I
Yeah,
remember.
Spiral.
Yeah, I remember looking at the IMDb, and all of a sudden, the IMDb for Saw the Final Chapter had been changed to Saw 7. It no longer had the final chapter on it, and I was like, they're going to do more Saw movies. Obviously, then Jigsaw came about, but I'm pretty sure it was either just before Jigsaw came out or not long after it had come out. Chris Rock announced that he was doing a Saw movie, so they've been like trying to get Spiral developed and sort of been thinking about it, rewriting the script and sort of fleshing it out for a while now. Because I know that Chris Rock already has another 2 scripts, because he said he wants to
get 2.
He said he wants to do at least a trilogy.
You know what? He's going to have to learn to write dialogue then, isn't he?
Well, he didn't write. The thing is, I thought, and I said in the Saw video, that he had written the script. Turns out, I don't think he did.
No,
okay.
I just checked the credits on Wikipedia and he hasn't written it.
Well, my apologies to Chris Rock then.
It was two. Yeah, it was 2 of the writers. It was 2 of the writers that wrote the script. He was just heavily involved in helping them with the story direction.
And you know what? Credit to him. I think the story and the concept of this film is good. I liked the idea of this one.
I also didn't mind the idea of it's about, you keep it more character focused. It's more one guy, kind of a police mystery film.
So it's about police corruption,
Yeah.
systemic police corruption, and should we? I guess we can. Should we spoil the twist, or should we not go that far? Basically, someone is killing former police officers, current police officers, in the style of the Jigsaw killer, right?
Yeah.
Who is now within the Saw universe? He is now dead. And so it's a copycat killer kind of deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's sort of it's an intriguing mystery on that level, I think. But I know you guys liked it. I
thought it was fine.
I don't know if
Well,
we say that, Dan. Let's not
it
put
was
words
all
in our
right.
mouths. Yeah.
Okay. You thought you tolerated it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it as a Saw film. Like, I went into it expecting it to be overacted camp with ridiculous traps.
Yeah.
Kind of like pushing kind of forcing the twist at points. As usual Saw films do, and when it finished, I was like, that was a Saw movie. That's what that was. Like, it wasn't one of those. Like, when I went to see Jigsaw, I was really disappointed. Like, they didn't put a lot of effort into the traps. They cut out a lot of the gore, and then the entire thing, the entire plot twist in Jigsaw revolved around, oh, and I'm one of Jigsaw's apprentices. And it's like, but we've had 7 films that are dedicated to you not being that. Like, you are a new character who has been introduced in Jigsaw, and now you're suddenly a secret 5th apprentice.
Yeah.
Plus, it had that horrible CGI head opening at the end, the head flower.
The blooming onion.
Oh, it was horrendous. And it's like, no. Saw films use practical effects. They very rarely use CG, and when they do, it's like sparingly or on top of already practical effects.
It enhances what's actually there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing with Spiral is I liked the idea of it being more of like a... This one felt more like vigilante justice of like, these people had actually done something wrong, which was quite nice, refreshing from watching the first Saw film.
Yeah.
And then I liked how the traps worked into what they'd done. So one of them, his corruption was he was constantly lying on the stand to put people away. So his was he either had to rip his tongue off or die. The guy who pulled the trigger to kill innocent people, he had his fingers ripped off or he would die. Like, there was clever little things in that. I liked how the traps related more to the character, which was, a nice little touch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something that they end up doing later in the Saw films. Like, there's a lot of them where they'll, they will relate the trap to how this person has wronged other people. Some of the time they're just like, yeah, this guy ran over someone, so we're gonna put him in this thing that twists his head off. It's like, what? How does that relate to him running over someone? And it's like, it doesn't. It's just a cool trap. Whatever. Shut up.
They've kind of written it backwards.
Yeah, they wrote the traps first, and then were like, and how do we put someone into this? What did they do?
Yeah, the thing is with the traps, one of my first criticisms, I guess, like the most basic criticism of this film is that I just didn't have a fun time watching it. Like with the first Saw film that we watched the other day for Time I Saw Trash, for the first Saw, it's kind of got that kind of camp, funny sort of, I think at least, sort of atmosphere to it. Like it's not too serious, it's not too gory, it's not too unpleasant. It's sort of got this, I don't know, like sort of camp kind of undercurrent to it. With Spiral and actually a lot of the preceding Saw films, they just get progressively more and more unpleasant to watch. The traps get more and more like horrible, like, and this film wasn't really an exception. I thought it was like, so the traps were just like, it wasn't nice, like a guy like with his tongue like clamped onto some like
the
contraption.
finger one was the worst for me.
The finger one, horrible, like just, and you're just watching this person screaming in absolute agony and terror, just having this horrendous act put upon them, and it's like,
well,
what am I meant to be getting out of this again? Like,
You're just sat there like, come on, lighten up.
yeah, exactly.
Well, it was one of them things. It was like, oh, you know, you're stood on a box. You're stood on a box above the ground. You're held up by your tongue.
Yeah.
You've got to jump down and rip your tongue out to get out.
I understand the concept
but,
tying into a punishment or whatever.
Because that one, it was like, okay, that's bad, but there is like a quick exit to it, and it's you know, it seems like it would cause damage and in a sort of a way that makes sense to the character. Again, the fingers one, it's like you rip off your fingers or you get electrocuted and you die.
Yeah.
The one with the police, I won't say, you know, I won't say who, but the one where it's, oh, we've lay you down and we're going to pour wax on your face. The way you get out is you sever your spinal cord.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So I think
what?
But he said a thing in that. It was like, you know, you can survive, but you won't walk away. There's some line of it, and it's the idea of, because this person's kind of had a root in all of the corruption, it's like you can't walk away from all the stuff you've done.
It's a bit. I think for that one, it's weak. The dramatic irony of what they've done, I think.
The thing that I thought was coming up, right, and I thought you were about to mention it then, Christian. I'm not convinced that the fingers guy and the hot wax one could have survived. I don't think they had enough time to get out of those traps, and I thought that was going to be a sort of reveal where it's under this guise of, oh, they could get out, but realistically they're all rigged against them.
No, they've done that before.
Right. Okay.
I was watching a review and somebody said that trap, to them it looked like the machine actually like stalled and like broke a bit.
The fingers one.
The fingers one, and he got electrocuted anyway. So it like was like he was kind of like he was buggered anyway.
Could be.
Yeah.
I do remember thinking, because it pulled them off really slowly. I was like, he's not got enough time to get them off. I tell you what though. You know, Spiral, it's an absolute masterclass in tell don't show. There is a scene right at the start where Chris Rock just dumps all the sort of exposition you need to know about his character. He's like, I can't trust anyone on this force because I turned in a dirty cop 11 years ago and all this stuff's happened to me. I'm not going to show you it, I'm just going to let you know to catch you up to speed. It's like,
we do see
it's
it, though.
quite
we do see
lazy.
it later, though.
And that's the really weird thing. We kind of get to see flashbacks after we've already been told it, so why are we being told it?
It shows the same clip of Chris Rock and that corrupt police officer saying, he goes, the witness pulled a gun on you. It shows that about 4 times, and it's the same angle, and it's just like proper lazy.
I was going to say, they do that thing that, again, crops up in later Saw films where they'll show a clip, and then later on in the film they'll show that same clip, but with a bit on the beginning or a bit on the end. And then they'll show it again, but they'll show the full picture this time for the reveal.
That happens in the first one with the whole the doctor getting his picture taken in the parking garage.
They show the same clip 3 times, but each time they add a little bit of extra context as to why something happened.
It's teasing you, it's feeding you out.
I did think the tongue trap, the Saw traps go, it's the most like, if you got to pick one to do, you could maybe do that one. All you got to do is just like, all you got to do is take your weight, and it'll just do it for you.
Yeah, like it's a quick, easy one. You decide it, you're gone. It's not like the fingers one where you have to, for ages, slowly do it.
It's the tip of his tongue was clamped on as well, so it would have only taken the tip of his tongue off, and he could have ran off without a tongue.
No, because
I'm pretty sure it ripped the entire thing off.
Nah,
no,
It did. It was
it did. It did rip his entire gullet out of his mouth.
Yeah, I was gonna say it ripped out, it basically
loads. Yeah.
caved out the entire of his bottom jaw.
Yeah.
There was a girl at my primary school who did that. She bit the tip of her tongue off because they were doing double Dutch skipping rope, and it came up, hit her chin, and just forced her chin up, and she bit the tip of her tongue off.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a big. It goes through me. That biting my tongue is it's the most painful thing. Can you imagine biting your tongue off?
Oh, someone's lived a sheltered life.
You have no idea.
We know your childhood, Dan. Going through those Italian fields, picking the berries.
Yeah.
Mama. I'm picking the berries.
I get the raspberry, mum.
The wine.
And what am I wearing? Is it lederhosen?
It was like little dungarees or something. Just the dungarees, no t-shirt on underneath. Barefoot,
for
going
anyone
through the Italian fields.
For anyone
In my head, he's
confused,
still got the same head he has now on this kid's
Yeah.
body.
For anyone confused, Ben has a wild imagination, as you may have deduced. He's come up with this bizarre concept of my childhood.
Not to say, I won't say it, but Dan's last name is an Italian last name. I've not just pulled. He's not just some mank. I've decided he's Italian.
I am. To all intents and purposes, I am just some mank, but I inexplicably have an Italian surname. It's my mum's fault.
Imagine little Dan.
Yeah, it was based. Ironically, where my mum lives now, there used to be a massive kind of big.
Because it was your childhood, yeah. You picked the berries.
It's actually never occurred to me that before. Then there used to be a massive field, literally a stone's, a very very close to my front door. Huge I'd run in it in the summers, as a little kid. It was like a hay field, and there was an alleyway.
Picking the grapes and making the wine.
Making a wine.
Mate, there was an alleyway behind my house that led to this field, and it was quite it wasn't as built up as it is now. This area, it was kind of relatively. It wasn't rural, but it was very green. There were raspberries in the alleyway, and me and my mum would pick those raspberries and eat them. It happened. I completely forgot about that.
Because that's your childhood, because you're Italian.
I wasn't wearing lederhosen though, unfortunately. But everything else happened.
The video.
Run through the field.
Told you, it was your childhood. I knew it.
You knew
Little
it.
Italian boy.
Oh, that's the perfect mismatch of your Italian culture, but living in Manchester. You did pick raspberries, but it was out of an alleyway.
Yeah, that's it.
Alleyway
Just picking them up off the floor. They weren't raspberries. They were just, I don't know what, pebbles. It was like, raspberries, mum. It's a bit hard.
Oh god.
Oh god. Anyway, let's get back on topic.
Yeah, Spiral.
Absolutely
I tell you what, this is one thing that I'd completely forgotten about until I caught a clip of Spiral yesterday. They really made such an effort to show us, how cool Chris Rock's character is. He's a cop, he doesn't care. He doesn't drive a squad car, he's got his own cool muscle car. Yeah. He talks about women and calls them bitches, isn't he cool? It's not really, no.
He's Denzel Washington from Training Day, but not as good.
Pretty much, yeah.
I think as well what this franchise needs to do is kind of what other franchises are doing by getting rid of continuity in canon. Just bring back Tobin Bell and don't say anything.
I was gonna say
why not? Just make a Saw movie where it's him and he's going around killing. Just come on,
honestly,
This
this film was fine, and I was really glad that they didn't do it's another secret Jigsaw ally or protege or whatever. He is just a guy who liked
or girl.
Or girl.
Don't know. We don't know.
They are.
I wonder which one it could be.
Wait, we have said he quite a lot, but oh well. They
it's
are
the
just
royal he, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
They are just a person who not admired Jigsaw, but liked Jigsaw's way of doing things, of
Yeah.
how he punished people. So, I thought that worked quite well and sort of lent itself to this being a soft reboot.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll be honest, when do we think we're going to get Son of Jigsaw? And it turns out his kid is
Oh.
carrying on the mantle.
Has that been established? Has he got any kids in canon?
Yes, I think he does,
well,
doesn't
one of the reasons that he started is because his son died. So
Maybe there's a mystery twin.
Died.
Oh, Jigsaw's twin brother.
he? That's how you get Tobin
And you had
Grace back
Tobin Bell.
in. Tobin
come back.
Bell? I don't know his name.
You didn't say Topher Grace.
I
That's
said Tobin
better.
Grace.
I was just about to say, one of the things I was kind of hoping for with this film was that we'd get to the end and the plot twist would be that it wasn't a Jigsaw copycat, it was just Jigsaw. And when they're like, wait, but you died, how are you alive? He just sort of shrugs and he's like, I don't know, robot clone something. I just thought they'd go like full ridiculous with it, just be like, yep, Jigsaw's back, whatever. Why is he not dead? Who knows? Somehow Jigsaw's back.
This isn't that film, though. This film takes itself not
I
too
don't-
seriously, but more seriously than that.
I was going to say, it was one of those films like to bring back Final Destination 5, where Final Destination 4 had gone so ham and ridiculous and far off what Final Destination was, that they did Final Destination 5 and were like, right, we're going to make it serious again. We're going to bring back some respectability to this franchise. And by that point, people were so used to the ridiculousness of the
no one
films
wants that.
that the film sort of finished and you're like, it was okay, but I wanted the ridiculous stuff back.
Yeah.
I wanted stupid Saw back.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask a question as well. Why was Samuel L. Jackson in this film? It was just a confusing presence. Like, I get that, like, he's a big name and everything, and it's good to have, big names to attract people to the cinema. I'm sure it will. But, like, he was really phoning in this performance. He was clearly there just to, it's probably like a week's filming or something. Very, very short term
2 days.
shoot.
That's a
Yeah.
weekend.
Yeah.
Like, and he was just like pretty much I've not really gone into like my feelings on this film properly, to be honest, how much I actually disliked this film, because you guys, like we were saying at the outset, tolerated this film. I properly just did not like the film at all. I didn't really like any aspect of it. Like, the acting wise, it was bad. Concept wise, it was like I agree with you guys. There's something there that's kind of compelling with the police corruption and everything, but I just thought it was like my first police corruption story. It was like it was just really, really, really basic and dead sort of simplistic. And then you had this, then you had this whole horror aspect tacked on, which was unpleasant to me. Like, just the whole like idea of like ensnaring people in these traps, which are so like gory and disgusting and everything. And it's like, let's see how gross we can be. And there's not really any... I mean, I get that they were sort of trying to be clever with them and tie the punishments into the crime and stuff. Fair enough, whatever. But, like, I just didn't enjoy watching it personally. And then the dialogue was just crap. And,
There's
like,
some
the story
poor
was...
dialogue in there.
The
Yeah, it's
dialogue
like-
was very poor.
Yeah, it was just. I mean, I didn't even enjoy it on a oh, it's so bad it's good level, because it was just like humorless. It had nothing about it, no spark or anything. Like, Chris Rock's character was so unlikable. He just like, are you meant to root for him? Because all he does, especially in the start of the film, is just complain and blame everyone else for all his problems, and he's sort of this bitter kind of guy who just like makes everyone else's like experience of work really like unpleasant. And he comes out with like rubbish, like really bad jokes that are just dead mean spirited
Again,
and
that's
not funny.
Again, that's another thing that I think ties into the Saw franchise, though, because I don't think I've ever rooted for a character in a Saw movie.
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah, I was going to say I root for the bad guy.
That's not true. That is not true. I proper root for Donnie Wahlberg.
Donnie Wahlberg.
who's Donnie Wahlberg? Ben.
Because it's Donnie Wahlberg. I like him.
Yeah, well,
He's in Saw 2. He's
right.
Mark
Yeah.
Wahlberg's brother. He's in the Saw movie, and I root for Donnie Wahlberg.
he's in Saw 2.
I was rooting for Carrie Elwes in the first one.
No,
Yeah,
not
I like
really.
Adam.
Sorry?
I like Adam. The
No.
Lee Winnell.
Nah, I
That's not about the other one.
Yeah, I know you were, but I'm saying.
Oh, as well. Sorry. I thought you were going to say I disagree.
Conversation.
I mean, I mean, it's easier to root for them in the first film, but again, another thing about this film, and another reason I think I did kind of enjoy it is it was directed by Darren Lynn Bousman, who did Saw 2, 3, and 4. So it was actually done by a veteran director of the franchise, which I think helped it in my eyes somewhat because it felt very similarly shot and edited to those three.
I think that was a flaw, though. I think they could have got somebody different and new, and they could have bring something new to it. And it's just a bit lazy.
They tried that with Jigsaw, and it didn't work. They tried getting someone who hadn't done a Saw film before to do a Saw film, and it ended up being the worst Saw film.
But Christian, here's the twist: you do it different, but you do something good.
Yeah, you get somebody good. Like, who did they get for Jigsaw? Barry. And it's like, oh, who's he? You get somebody, like, you can actually... Like, you Ryan Coogler it, that Rocky, Creed. That's, he had a take.
Jigsaw proper feels like Diet Saw.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, Jigsaw was, like... One good thing I can say about this film is it wasn't Jigsaw. Like... I think that was another reason I enjoyed this film so much because, I didn't enjoy it loads, but it was another reason that I came out of this film and was like, yeah, that was good, was because Jigsaw was fresh in my mind, and that just wasn't a Saw movie.
Yeah. Shall we go into heavy spoilers and talk about actual plot points and twists?
So if you really don't want spoilers, then we'll put a time code in the description for you to be able to jump ahead.
We'll put it on screen now as well, so you can see it.
We'll stick it on the screen as well. We'll go into heavy spoilers for sort of the next 5-ish, 10 minutes, just so that Dan can really express.
I mean, I said it. Oh, well, there's one thing I want to kind of mention, but not.
It's a bit of a leap to call this one a twist, isn't it? When it's
Yeah.
been so heavily telegraphed.
Yeah, that is possibly the biggest disappointment about this film, is that the Saw music hits that triumphant thing, and it's like, boom, big twist, and it's like, oh yeah, I knew that he was behind it all.
I'd been assuming it the whole time, ever since that whole phone conversation, where it's like, oh, my phone died, and they made a whole thing about it. It's like, oh, okay, so he's the killer. Because you wouldn't make such a big thing out of something so small unless you wanted to refer back to it later and you wanted people to remember that moment.
Also, this guy just happens to become a trainee detective, just happens to turn up on the first day that the Jigsaw killer is back.
Yeah.
I mean, creative license, that happens in films all the time.
Well, yeah, but still.
But he's had to actually enter into, like, he's not, you can't just become a detective. You have to be a police officer for years, don't you? And he's obviously lived his entire, like, his whole career has been building towards this moment. And
I think
does he mess it up? I can't remember. Does he get away?
He gets away.
Oh, he gets away.
And
Yeah.
Sam Jackson dies.
Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson gets absolutely riddled with bullets in what I thought was actually
No.
I actually quite liked the whole puppet stuff.
It was a nice
I thought like, oh, I know why Sam Jackson's done it. He's done it as a favour for Chris Rock, but he's done it as well to be like, oh yeah, I want to get obliterated on camera because I'm never going to see that. And I thought he's definitely going to get his limbs ripped off.
I thought that's where it was going.
And I thought it was a bit. I get the whole point of like, oh, he's raised the gun, and the police have killed him, and he's a black man, that kind of commentary attempted.
Yeah.
But I thought like, you want to get ripped apart, don't you? That's why. Why Sean Bean takes these jobs.
I was like, do you reckon that was in his contract? He was like, if I'm going to die, you've got to riddle with me bullets because I'm not coming back for this sequel.
Maybe, yeah. It was. I just thought it was. I got it, and I thought it was a shame. Sam Jackson. Let's have his head get caved in or his arm ripped off. And he looked so like pathetic as well. The bit when he was like getting raised back up, he's like, "Oh, what's going on?" It's almost a bit comedic.
Yeah,
sorry,
the thing
Dan,
it's fine. No, it's fine. The thing is though that like, yeah, why was the police's kind of instinct to shoot him hundreds of times because he raised his arm up? Like, surely, like they'd see. Wait a minute, he's kind of ensnared in this mental trap.
I do feel like it was attempting some sort of social point.
I
just
I
don't
think
think it. I just don't think it particularly wore the social. You know, a lot of films when
You
they're
can't
making social.
half-ass it.
Yeah, a lot of films when they do the social commentary, they like wear it on their sleeve, and you're like, oh yeah, they're making social commentary. I don't think it was very obvious in this film because of its poor writing and poor dialogue.
But it's how much social commentary can you do in a Saw film? Like,
Yeah,
the audience aren't going to enjoy it.
There was nothing
it's
to
not
lay
the
the
platform.
groundwork for that. Like, if it was a conscious thing where it's like it was trying to say something politically, it didn't lay any groundwork for it, and it was really, really trite.
What are you on
really,
about,
like,
Dan? They had the scene where the policeman shot the guy who gave him the finger. It was really late.
Oh god,
yeah.
that was
That was hilarious.
That was amazing. I mean, I'm glad the film exists for that mental.
There was
If you've not seen it, just like, but you want to know what's going on. There's a bit where we see some dash cam footage of a cop who pulls someone over. He goes to talk to him, and all we see is a middle finger come out of the window. Nothing is said, and the cop then pulls the gun out and just shoots him straight away. It's so quick and so abrupt.
Yeah. You just see these hands go like,
Yeah.
and then the cop just goes,
Yeah,
like he proper aims, and just goes, and actually, I don't even think there's any recoil. It's just a really poor effect.
I'm pretty sure he fires twice as well.
It's bad.
Yeah.
There is some ridiculousness to this film. It might be one of them films where if I rewatch it, I'd probably be more inclined to lean towards Dan's side. But I was just kind of excited to be back seeing another Saw, and it hit some of the right points. It had the sort of wacky editing at points.
And back in the cinema as well.
It was back in the cinema. It had the theme, like when the theme music kicked in. I didn't care that the twist was predictable.
I cracked a smile when
I was just as soon as that piano started to sort of fade in, I was like, right, leaning forward in my seat, getting ready for the twist that I knew was coming.
Well, see, and that's the thing you were saying, like, oh, maybe if I rewatched it. I think because so early on I'd settled into, I think I know what the twist is. And then the film itself isn't it's fairly predictable. It was this really weird experience of, even though it's the first time, I felt like I was rewatching a film.
Because it was just redoing kind of similar beats.
Yeah.
I think, like, talking about, that's good segue by me, because I don't really
Okay.
Well, like in other franchises, when they do like the nostalgia thing, I'm really not into it. 'Cause it's like, let's move forward. If I want nostalgia, I'll watch the original. I really quite like the scene where it is Chris Rock with the actual Saw, and they played like the remix, orchestral slow version of the Saw theme. And it's like, oh, here we go, and then he just gets out of it, and I was like, oh, that's quite good. He gets out of it. I was kind of into it because I don't really care. I thought that bit was quite good, and I thought that section where I quite like the section where he's trying to save the guy, his old partner, and he's getting railed with glass. Oh,
that was probably the maddish trap of all of them. Like the trap finished, and Chris Rock still had pieces of glass in him, and I was like, how are you still stood up? Like he had that bin on his shoulders, and he's like, yeah, I'm protecting my head, and it's like, your back's getting absolutely railed with glass right now. All your arms are shredded. He's pulling chunks of glass out of him in the next room. I was like, there is no, like, I'd get hit with like 3 pieces of glass and I'd be like, I'm out.
I'm sorry. I feel like you just try to get the glass off that conveyor belt, then there's no problem.
Yeah. Just throw the bin up there. And
and then there's no glass going into the machine, so there's no glass being hitting you, then you're done.
You're the kind of people, Ben, that makes those videos like how to survive every Saw trap.
I think it's because I've watched a lot of Taskmaster, and I've become very good at lateral thinking. I think going left in a task. That's what Saw is. Saw is an extreme Taskmaster. That's like series 20.
I was just about to say new Saw film, but Jigsaw is Greg Davies.
Yeah, it's Alex Horn. Alex Horn is Jigsaw, actually.
I'd rate that. You just see Alex Horn coming out on a tricycle. That's reminded me. That's another thing that was really disappointed me. So halfway through, we get I was going to say reveal, but it's not, of like the sidekick has been put in a trap himself, and like the way you find out is you see his skinned arm is delivered to it. It's like, oh no, that sucks. I went, well, he's not dead because we didn't see the trap. There's no way.
Yeah.
And then, but in my head, I was like, oh my god, he's the killer, and he's so dedicated. He's skinned his own arm. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Okay, I respect the dedication. And then the reveal is, oh no, I skinned someone else's arm and put my tattoo on that. I was like, oh, that's boring. That's a bit of a cop out.
I thought as well,
Also,
it's
it's just like-
really poor when they set up where he's like, he goes, "There's nobody on the force I can trust," and he hits the window thing. But
And we see it 3 times.
the whole first act, it's about this guy Boz, who was his like best mate,
Yeah.
and he did trust him. We went to the game. Whatever he said.
We went
It's
to
like,
games.
I thought you didn't trust anyone, but
Ooh.
he's your best mate. You see, he's hang out with his wife. You went to the game. I was like, what? Stupid. Poor writing.
Yeah.
So cringe. Imagine someone saying that in an actual like argument. We went to games. It's like, oh mate, whatever. Yeah, that we're going to games line cringed me out because who, like, you know, like I said, it was like my first police procedural. It's like the writer thought, what do like hard-boiled detective characters sort of do in their recreational time? Like, what's a male recreational activity? Like, oh, they go to a basketball game, and then it's like I have this image of them both in, or whatever it was.
Did they even see what type of game it is? He just says we
just
go
ga-
to, we go to games as if they were like, let's not put a sport on it because we don't want to alienate anyone. You know,
Yeah.
could be
It's
football,
like,
could be
went
basketball.
To the game. We went to the game. We had a bit. It's like such boring characters. We went to games. Like, that's like, I don't know what I'm
Like
trying to
children's
articulate.
rounders in the park. They just went. They just went to the game.
It's just like the characters are so boring, and it's like, oh, we went to the game. He was my best bud. Ooh. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I think I've lost my mind.
Well, that was one that I'd completely forgotten until I saw another clip yesterday. Completely forgot that there was that whole thing of him having a kid and going through a divorce. That never came up again.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
What was the point in
Chris
that?
Rock's character.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
there's one scene where he
No,
visits his
exactly.
ex-wife.
One scene. Like, why?
Yeah, there's that whole scene where
It's a cliche
you know he
character.
sees his ex-wife and he's like, oh, so your sister gets to see my son, but I don't. Never brings it up again.
It's just a proper like cliche detective
Yeah.
where it's like he's got did he have alcohol problems? I can't
No,
remember.
don't think
Oh,
so.
did his dad? I can't even remember. But like
I mean,
he had an ex-wife. You know, he'd have relationship problems. Takes the job too seriously. He's obsessed by the case. You know, all these tropes. But they're just doing it in such a boring way. It's like
my favorite, like
Pointless.
my favorite. This is a vanilla police story trope that they used was, of course, Samuel L. Jackson. His dad was also a police officer. Was the police chief at one point, and as soon as it hit the flashback to Samuel L. Jackson as the police chief, and he had that thick black
Oh,
mustache,
God, yeah,
I was like, "Are you serious?"
yeah, that was incredible.
I loved Chris Rock's goatee and backwards cap to
Yeah.
show that he was
show that
a
he was
young
young.
fella with the backwards cap on.
The woman detective, they just didn't bother doing anything with
No,
her.
they
It
gave
was
her a
just-
fringe. They gave her bangs.
Oh,
Yeah.
they gave. Oh, right.
They gave her a
right,
fringe.
Okay. They should have given her a backwards baseball cap. As well. Just put everyone in backwards baseball.
It's like, hey, my fellow
Oh,
kids,
they're
like it's
younger.
proper like that.
It was so. Why is he cutting about in the police station with a backwards baseball cap on?
Because he's young
Like,
and carefree.
Yeah, but
and
it's so stupid. Like
Skates, you
it's
know?
just so stupid. He looks exactly the same as well.
I was
Like
gonna
they
say-
don't put any makeup on him or
No.
anything. It's just Chris Rock. with a backwards baseball.
The best bit about that is he stood talking to his dad in the backwards baseball cap. Right, ridiculous enough, but you've got to remember that also that's set 11 years ago when he wasn't even a detective. So you see the backwards baseball cap and you're like, that is ridiculous, and then you look down and realise he's in full police uniform. It's like, why are you wearing a backwards baseball cap in full police uniform?
Because it's
That's
cheaper
so
than
stupid.
de-aging technology, Christian. But, you know, regardless of the quality of this film, it felt good to be back in a cinema.
It did.
Did.
It felt very good to be back in a cinema, and that is a great segue to move us on from Spiral, because I feel like we've said enough. Danny didn't like it. We thought it was okay. It's
Yeah.
It's better than Jigsaw. Worse than all the other Saws.
We could have just said
Go
that.
see it. Might as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're into Saw movies, go see it. It's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna move into I don't know. Do we call it what we recommend?
It's just a chat about the cinema.
Yeah.
We're back.
We recommend going to the cinema.
I was
I
gonna
wish
say-
I bought like a whole confetti cannon to start like popping off.
Yeah. We'll call.
We'll fix
have
it in post.
Yeah. We'll call it like a special sort of what we recommend, because we're not going to be Well, I mean, we are going to be recommending specific films, but we're just going to be having a general discussion about how great it is that the cinemas have reopened, and then we can sit back, relax, and watch films on the big screen.
I thought you. That's
Gallus?
Mark Strong, isn't it? That's what Mark Strong says.
No.
Oh. I mean, not to talk about any specific companies, but losing Mark Strong in favour of John Boyega is a poor
It's sad.
hand. That's a poorly dealt card. That is.
The problem with the John Boyega one is it's just so long. Mark Strong, it was just
Yeah.
They turned off the screen went black, and he just talked to you for a few minutes. Then the logo would come up.
It's mad though, because that video, it's all like style and music and shots and effects and blah de blah.
It thinks
But
it's mint.
It's still not as cool and not as much style as Mark Strong in pitch black going hello. Like that is so much better, so much more effective. Makes you focus,
Iconic.
doesn't it? Little bit of
Yeah.
darkness. It's great. It's great.
It's so much better. I wouldn't have even minded if they were like, okay, we're going to replace Mark Strong with an up-to-date thing, and it's like, oh, and then they've just got John Boyega to do exactly the same script.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, it would. Get different people to do
Yeah.
that same work, that same script.
Yeah, that would have been quite good. People
the-
with unique
the brand.
voices,
Yeah,
Harrison Ford, Morgan Freeman, Michael Caine.
Exactly.
That'd be well good.
Instead of spending all that money,
Chris
on-
Rock, that would have been amazing.
instead of spending all that money on that ridiculous, like, over-the-top beginning, they should have just spent money on getting, like, 10, 15 actors to read the same lines, and then you just mix it up depending on
Yeah.
the showing. You go in and it's a new exciting thing. You're like, oh,
That'd be
who's it going to
cool.
be this time? Who's
Scarlett
it going to be this
Johansson
time?
does it for Black Widow. Daniel Craig can do it for Bond. Mate, I should go
That's
to
a
marketing.
great-
I'm sick.
Because I think that's the other thing with when you were saying how long it is. It's when, you watch a film every now and then, and you might go to an Odeon one day, a View this day, a Cineworld this day. It doesn't matter. But when you're going to the same chain of cinema every time and you see it for every showing, it's like, oh, I know this advert now. I
Yeah.
don't want to sit through it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like
That is a good idea.
all that money to pay for one shot of Ridley Scott looking really confused, like it's just like.
With a phone showing a picture of a dog.
Yeah.
I have the impression as well, like it occurred to me the other day, most people won't know that's Ridley Scott.
Yeah, it's just some doddery
Probably
old
not.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it doesn't really work on that
Because
level.
I don't know if you guys remember when they first released it, the Twitter account for the cinema chain released it saying like, "Oh, how many film references and Easter eggs can you spot in this?" So I think part of it was it brought up early engagement, so that's why it's a bit longer and there's all these different things thrown in. But at this point, everyone's forgotten about that and they are just a bit sick of it.
Yeah, I generally like the idea of having that speech. Or sometimes it started with Mark Strong going boom. That was one.
Yeah.
Just have different people do it. And you like, oh, what voice is it? Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool, man.
But talking of the cinema,
Yeah.
we know. I don't know about the Odeon, but in the UK at View, there's one particular film I really, really, really would like to go watch. Is the View Cinemas is showing Taxi Driver, the prequel. No,
The prequel to Joker.
prequel to Joker. The original Joker, you might say. Because I love Taxi Driver. There was one day, like a couple of years ago, where I just woke up one morning and was in the mood for Taxi Driver, and I just watched Taxi Driver in the morning and just in my pajamas and just loved it. I find it so soothing, even though it's not at all. Like it's not like a suit, because it's quite like
It's not
one
a
crazy
soothing
guy. And I just proper like sinking. I think it's the music. The music sends me right off. I love the music.
Never seen it.
Oh, it's
I
so
haven't seen it.
good.
which is why I'm looking forward to seeing it at the cinema.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to go and see it as well. Like, it'd be a good experience to see it first on the big screen, I imagine.
Oh, yeah, it'd be
And this is a
amazing.
thing that I hope remains post-COVID, is that cinemas still show more classic and older films every now and then. Obviously, you'll have to do
love it,
fewer
yeah.
because you need to make way for the bigger new films that make the money. But yeah, man, like, give the chance for people to watch these classics for the first time on the
Yeah.
big screen.
Be
I was
so
gonna say,
good.
even if it's just for like special events every now and again, you know, like we've done, a few of us have gone and watched Jaws before. I went and watched The Matrix, much to Ben's disgust.
Don't want to talk about that, man.
But yeah, it's. I mean, I saw like The Thing the first time I saw that was at the cinema. Jaws first time I saw that the cinema.
That's cool.
It gives me a chance to see these films for the first time, the way they were intended. Because of course, back when Jaws came out, back when The Thing came out, back when Total Recall, another one that's shown at the moment, Taxi Driver, back when they were coming out, there wasn't home release. You couldn't just watch these films at home.
Yeah.
They were intended for the cinema. They were intended to be seen on a screen of that size and only a screen of that size. Now we can watch them at our leisure on DVD, but there's something great about being able to go and watch an old film as it was intended to be seen.
But even then, like, there are some films that it's a completely different experience. Like, I'm a huge Jurassic Park fan. I love that film. It's almost like a whole new film watching that on the big screen.
Yeah.
Like that, I think that's one of my favourite films I've seen in cinemas.
Just things like the sound mixing is fully
Yeah.
appreciated. If you have good speakers, like the cinema we work at has a great new sound system there, and like, so you can hear all these little things. Like, I know it's not a re-release, but friends of ours, Sammy and Kieran, went to watch Spiral, and Sammy was saying how she heard people talking behind her, and she thought people were just talking, but it was just the mixing because the surround sound, it's just the background noise. Things like that, it's great. You don't get that experience if you don't have a surround sound at your home. You don't have that.
Yeah, I mean, to bring up another one that we rewatched, we went and watched Pulp Fiction when we showed that.
Oh, yes,
And
that's good.
there's because of the sound system, there's so many little bits and pieces that you pick up on that you didn't before. Like, you know, when they're in the diner at the beginning of the film, you can hear all the background noise, you can hear bits and pieces of conversations, and it just completely changes like a film. And especially when a film's got a great score, like when I went to go see Jaws, like being able to hear that score through the bassy surround sound speakers as the shark comes
so
up,
good.
it just really immerses you in that film and creates the tension.
Like when we went to watch Psycho on Halloween, the shower scene, it's like deafeningly loud. It's so effective. The music, Bernard Herrmann, also did Taxi Driver, the score. It's like, it's so just, it's just awesome. That's what, like, if you could talk about time traveling, I wish I could go see like the first ever screenings of Psycho, because there's the legends of people were freaking out and fainting and running away, and I wish that, if that's real, I'd love to have seen that. Oh,
That'd be cool.
yeah.
Do you reckon, like, which new films you guys reckon you'll go and catch? Because I'll be honest, I think if I can try and find a screening when as I'm just finishing a shift, I probably will go watch Kong vs Godzilla just to see it on the big screen. I reckon some of the colour will pop, and you know, it's a pretty snappy film. I might try and watch Mortal Kombat as well, to be fair.
If I hadn't have already watched them, I would have gone.
Yeah, but I think I might do it anyway, because I enjoyed them both enough. They're short enough, and I think they will benefit from the big screen. Like, I was a bit... I was a bit saddened to have to watch these films new, just on my TV at home.
Yeah, I agree. I do.
Yeah, I made an active effort to go see Godzilla and Godzilla King of Monsters at the cinema. And at the time, I made a really active effort when Skull Island came out to go see it in IMAX, because I was like, I feel like that's how that film is meant to be seen. Like, you really need to get the scale of these monsters. And again, I would probably go see Mortal Kombat. I'm trying to think of some of the other. I mean, there's
obviously we're all going to go watch Peter Rabbit 2.
Yeah, evidently. I mean, the
And
first
Maya
one
and
was
the Bee 3, is that what it's called?
yeah.
Yeah. There's 3 films, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, Maya and the Bee 1 and 2
trilogy.
were such classics.
Yeah, we've got to make it a trilogy. We've got to make it a trilogy.
The franchise.
Yeah, let's franchise it.
Talking of
Franchise
re-releases, one that I didn't know our cinema was showing until like we turned up on the day. Gladiator is such a thing. I'd
it's
love to
loud.
see that.
It's
so loud.
So loud.
It's so loud. Oh my god! I went into the cinema we work at. It was in a smaller screen, and I went in. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ! Like it was in a Coliseum scene.
Yeah,
in a fight
that's where
scene.
I walked in.
The crowd roaring.
Wow!
And all the
it's
metal
loud.
clanging. I was like,
Yeah.
How long are we showing that for?
I don't know. That's why we need to
I'd be
get
interested in
going.
seeing that.
Yeah,
I would be
I'd
interested in
go.
it.
I've never seen Gladiator, so I would absolutely be interested in seeing.
I
that.
think that's one that could benefit from the big screen.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wonder if I'll cry. Probably not. Cry. Floods of tears at the end.
Why have you cried at it previous?
I think it was the first film to make me feel emotional. I think I did have a little tear.
So Dennis Reynolds, man, you have no idea. You have no idea how. You don't know it.
But yeah, it was just the end. Everything, there's some pretty cool moments in Gladiator. Pretty emotional moments.
Yeah. And like we've got plenty of good films coming up. Like it's just nice to actually get excited about films again, because up until now, all of them it's been like, oh yeah, I'll see that, but I'll probably have to watch it at home or I'll rent it on Amazon. It's nice to get excited about a big cinema release.
I'm excited about re-releases more than new releases, to be honest.
I don't know, man. Like
See,
Quiet Place 2, I'm quite looking forward to, because that is one that if we watch that at home, it wouldn't be the same.
I'm only excited for Cillian Murphy. When we watched the trailer for that before Spire, I was like, oh my god, yes, Cillian Murphy's in this. And is this a thing? Right, okay. In Quiet Place, there's the bit where he's with his son, and he gives like the famous shushing thing, right? And he like whacks his nose and does that. He does like a shush across his face like this. Cillian Murphy does the same thing in the trailer for Part 2. Why is that a thing?
I can't say I've picked up on it.
It's very peculiar. If anyone's listening, can they help me? I'll look it up. And like, why are the leading roles of these films like doing it like across their face like this? It's very strange.
I mean,
you gotta have some staples of a franchise, Ben.
I guess.
exactly. It's just a recurring theme for when we're on a Quiet Place 26.
I'm like, yeah, but like, in fact, we found out we're going to be getting some older Bond movies. I've no idea how good they'll stand up. Time's so trash. Especially, we can say what we're going to get. He said we got told one of them.
Oh, yeah, we got.
Yeah, I
told
think it's
Dr.
public
No.
knowledge.
Yeah, we're getting Dr. No. I'm so must see it.
My question is that going to look good blown up on the big screen?
Yeah, it will, definitely.
You reckon?
Yeah,
it started on the big
it's
screen.
filmed.
So.
It's filmed on film. Some shots won't look good. Like there's a car chase where it's clearly Sean Connery behind a projector, but it will look good, absolutely. And to hear the music, the original music, and see the original gun barrel. Oh,
Obviously, where you get the blood come down,
yeah.
all the classics.
Do you know what I think I'll do well this month? Cruella, I think is going to do really well.
Yeah.
Because it's not obviously when it was kind of announced or when the trailer came out, people were like, "Oh, Cruella! Why are they making a film of Cruella? She's an unpleasant character." Blah blah blah. Fair enough. That point stands. But apparently, it's meant to be really good. It's meant to be a really good film. There's something more about it than just the typical kind of Disney throwaway sort of live action thing. It's been getting good reviews.
I'll watch Emma Stone in anything.
I was going to say, yeah, same. I mean, it just looks. It just looks like a way different film than I thought it was going to be. Like when they announced it way back, whenever they announced it, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we're going to get Emma Stone in a Cruella de Vil film." I was like, I can understand them turning Maleficent into a sympathetic character. Are you really going to turn the woman who skins puppies and turns them into a coat into a sympathetic character?
But the thing you're forgetting, Christian, is Joker made $1 billion.
Those puppies were evil. They were bad puppies.
Well,
they bullied her on the subway.
The other thing the other thing I got from the trailer is I don't know that they're trying to entirely turn her into a sympathetic character.
No, I don't think so.
I think they're just trying to show that she's always been a little bit weird and unhinged.
Which is
Yeah.
called Cruel Devil. So,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
completely forgot a film I'm genuinely actually looking forward to. I think it's Those Who Wish Me Dead or Want Me Dead. It's the Angelina
That's out
Jolie.
now.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
out
yeah.
now. I'm excited for it because I did not know this. It's the new film written and directed by Taylor Sheridan,
Yeah.
who wrote. I think he directed. I don't know if he directed it. He wrote Hell or High Water. He wrote Sicario. Yeah, he did direct Hell or High Water, and he wrote and directed Wind River. All great stuff. And I had no idea he had a new movie out. And
I've heard nothing of this.
my boy Johnny Bernthal's in it, so I'm very excited as well. I'll say as well. I'm not a huge. I don't know. I'm ambivalent to Grease. Maybe I think I like it more than I realised because I was watching clips of it and I was like, I kind of want to watch it now because I did a screen check while at work and there's the bit where they have the televised dance in their school gym. I was like, what's going on? But it's kind of great. And there's a bit where I need people to see this bit. There's a bit where like the camera goes in on them and there's one guy that's proper going for it on the far left. Proper mad knows he's on camera now and he goes for it. And I kind of thought that was hilarious. I was like laughing away while there was just customers there as well. No, I wasn't. I was being professional, but I thought it was just really funny. And I told Dan this before the cinema opened. It was if I believed in fate, I would say it was fate or destiny. I walked in. I had to mock projection. And I walked in on my favourite moment in Greece, and I couldn't believe me damn luck. Best moment in Greece, right, is where they're in the diner and like Sandy and Danny have fallen out or who cares, whatever. And there's a bit where like Danny's talking to Sandy and she says something, and then John Travolta goes,
Oh, come on, Sandy, don't make me laugh. Ha, ha, ha.
and I just think it's so good. And I like the chances of that I walked in that precise moment.
The chances
slim.
that the universe conspired to give you a job at a cinema where you'd be mopping the projection at that exact moment. It's
And,
just
like,
incredible,
There's
isn't
a bit.
it?
There's the great bit as well where like they're at some sort of parade and they're all 35 and then an arrival gang drives past and they've all got wrinkles and they're in their 40s. So the Scorpions are here. And I was like, what is this shit? But it's just so good.
It's like there's a line in Summer Nights talking about Danny Zuko, and I think it says young and sweet just turned 18. It's like, you have not just turned 18.
No.
You've just turned 30.
I don't know about anyone else, but I'm excited enough to be back at the cinema that I will literally, I'm literally considering going and watching anything. Well, I shouldn't say anything because I'm not considering going to watch Peter Rabbit 2.
I'll be honest, the clips look good. It looks like a nice
James.
little family film.
No.
I was doing a screen check and it started playing Boulevard of Broken Dreams and I was like, and then a squirrel starts singing it and I thought, oh no.
One of the films I am considering going to see is I'm considering going to see The Unholy.
Oh,
Yeah,
it looks-
I know nothing about it, but I'll see it.
I hadn't heard of it until literally about a week before we reopened the cinema, and I watched the trailer and I was like, this looks not great. And then it was after we'd reopened the cinema the other day, just before I started my shift, I was like, I'm going to look up reviews because I want to know why so many people are turning up to this film. Google has this new little thing on new releases where it picks out keywords from reviews. It basically has an AI that reads a bunch of reviews for the film and then picks out keywords and has them in a little box to be like, you know, if you don't have time to sit and read reviews, these are the words most associated with it.
Yeah.
The top word associated with The Unholy.
Can we guess?
Shite.
Yeah, go on, guess.
my guess is holy. That's my word.
I'm going to say crap.
Do you have a guess, Danny? Or...
Unholy?
Something along the
I
lines of
don't
like
know.
cheesy or bad or naff.
Like, it's something negative.
The top word was boring.
Oh, awesome.
I looked at the top words. The top words were something like boring, cringeworthy, bad acting, spiritual, slow.
What if that means though that it's actually like like Hereditary? Everyone thought that was boring and slow. What if it's a real film and people?
Well,
don't know?
that was why I then went and checked the reviews,
Oh, okay.
and the reviews are all giving it round about 2 out of 10 stars.
Okay, maybe not.
It's got a 27% on Rotten Tomatoes. I was like, this is something that this is something
You were
that,
lost for words.
yeah, I was lost for words. There's just something about Rotten Tomatoes. Like, I don't fully believe in Rotten Tomatoes. I don't see a Rotten Tomatoes review and go, this is the definitive review for anything. But there is something about a Rotten Tomatoes review when it's a bad one. Like, there's 2 types of Rotten Tomatoes reviews. If I see a Rotten Tomatoes review that's 90% or above, it's like, now I have to go see why this film is so good. But if it's if it's like 30% and below, I'm like, really? Can a film be that bad? They have the same effect on me. Like, I literally went to go see Annabelle 2 purely because it had 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I was like, no, it can't be that good.
Based off like 2 reviews, maybe.
From the writer and director.
Yeah.
But if The Unholy had have had 50-60%, I'd have been like, I'll get around to watching it maybe if it's on a streaming service. Now that I know that it's got 27%, I am far more interested to go see why this film is as bad as it is.
Screw Gladiator. Get rid of Taxi Driver.
Yeah, I don't want to go see good movies. I want to see this. I want to see Jeffrey Dean Morgan acting what looks like a basic, boring ghost story.
I didn't know he was in that.
Yeah, he's a main character.
It now, aren't we?
He played the guy in Walking Dead, right? Negan, was it?
Yeah.
He was also in a film that I watched years ago called The Possession, like a really bad. I think it was called The Possession, a really bad, almost like a B movie. So he's got previous kind of experience with these types of films.
Well, he's in a B movie show, right? A TV show right now, mate.
Ooh. Maybe the plot twist for The Unholy is that it's a sequel to The Possession.
Oh my god. Is he still in Walking Dead?
I can't. I'm not at liberty to say.
I know
James
he
is still watching. Oh yeah.
So, has his character developed at all? Is he
I can't tell you.
I know.
Watching
Let
it. Let me tell you everything. I'll tell you. We'll wrap up and I'll tell you.
I'll wrap you up.
My last thing. I'm glad cinemas are open because Wrath of Man, the new Guy Ritchie film, might come out. Ooh. And I need to know if it's a real Guy Ritchie movie or not, because it doesn't look like one. It looks like a generic Jason Statham action movie, and I need to know if it's lying or if it is real.
I mean, I'll join you in watching that. I will back you up to triumph for a staff screening.
Yeah, cause
just because I'm intrigued. I watched the trailer and I was like, really, Guy Ritchie?
Yeah, cause I've been wanting Jason Statham to work with Guy again since Snatch, because it's so good in Snatch and Lock, Stock, and I was like, oh yes, here we go, and it's just a whatever, total whatever, and I thought, oh.
Well, this is the thing. So like, he did Aladdin, then he did Gentleman, and now he's done this. So this might be the one for them, not the one for him.
I wonder if as well, like, he did this before he had people watch Gentleman. He'd already agreed to it and made it even before Gentleman came out, so he didn't even know, like, have I actually made a return to form yet? I suspect maybe that's the case, but yeah, also maybe one for them, one for me kind of thing. So fingers crossed though, but I doubtful.
Yeah.
Long story short, cinema's not going anywhere. It's only just getting started again.
Yeah.
People should
We're
go.
back,
It's
baby.
Great fun. Yeah, it is great fun. People should go. The best thing I could say about the cinema now, especially View cinemas, they do 1 seat apart per customers, and I think that's a genius invention that should stay forever. Nobody wants to sit next to a stranger. It's horrible. So just keep that permanent where there's nobody sat next to you. So don't worry, you'll have your own little bit, and it's great. So go.
Honestly, it's been the best thing about this whole situation, knowing that I can get on a tram or a train or a bus or go to the cinema or go anywhere with seats. Yeah, go anywhere with seats where someone would normally sit next to me and know that they can't.
Yeah, it's great. It's so good.
And that's the end.
Take us home, Christian.
Boom.
Next time.
Yeah, so thank you for joining us on another Spacemen from Pluto podcast.
Talking of spacemen, guys, have you guys seen those UFO videos?
Let's save that for next week, Dan.
Oh,
I think you actually want to talk about. Let's save that. Let's talk about aliens and UFOs next week. That's a tease for next week. How about that, Dan?
Oh,
all right.
How about that? Let's talk about UFOs next week, shall we?
we can talk about UFOs and that can be our theme next week. UFOs, aliens,
Yeah.
movies and TV shows based on that sort of stuff.
Because everyone, UFOs exist. It's been confirmed. It's now real. So no one's mentioning it, but it's real.
He's
It
gone
happened.
He's gone full Fox Mulder. He's proper like it's real. I choose to believe. No one's talking about the government's covering it up.
I was gonna say you're gonna come into the flat one day this week, and Danny's gonna have brought in like a full like A1 size "I want to believe" poster and just hung it on the wall.
The truth is out there, Dan.
Yeah, the truth
It
is out
is.
there. Yeah.
The truth is out there. But yeah, there you go. Tease for next week. We'll do aliens. We'll talk about UFOs. That should be an interesting one.
That'd be
I'm
very
actually very excited now that I know that that's what we're going to talk
Yeah,
about.
that'd be very good.
But yeah, thank you for joining us for another podcast. Remember to like and subscribe, and also talk to us down in the comments. If you've seen Spiral, what did you think of it? Do you like the Saw movies? Do you not? Are you excited to be back in the cinema? What are you looking forward to seeing? What films would you like to see if they would like bring them back to the cinema?
The Matrix, Rocky,
Those
Kurt
are
Russell
all-
movies.
Those are all films that have been back and have been back recently. You've just been busy on the day they've been there.
Surely it's only a matter of time till we get to watch Back to the Future in cinemas.
Oh, I really hope
Oh,
so.
I've already bloody done it, mate. I've already done it, mate.
God, I knew I hated you.
Sorry, mate. I did it in 2015 as well. I watched part 1 and part 2 when on the day he went forward. It specifically was on the day, and I went to go see it. And some dude sat next to me. It was like quite dead, and he chose to sit next to me, and I then moved away from him.
Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
See ya.
Hello. Makes you notice, doesn't it? A little bit of darkness,